Yes, doing really well. Although it is February in Canada and it's cold and snowing right now, but it is what it is.
I
So,
get it. It is about 60 degrees Fahrenheit outside where I am, so I'm sorry to anybody watching that's in colder weather. We are having like an early spring here, which is lovely. I'm not going to complain about it. It's strange that this weekend is the Super Bowl, which always feels like it's in the middle of winter because it is in the middle of February. Um, but really, that's what we're here to talk about is sort of the Super Bowl, Valentine's Day, the way that last month was Human Trafficking Awareness Month, and this month we have this really large event that historically has seen an uptick in trafficking and sex trafficking, um, but that we've seen in the movement such leaps and bounds in things like A21 raising great awareness around the Super Bowl just being another event where there are people coming that create more demand. And then like, the NFL itself has its own foundation, and I believe it's a penalty that has recently started to raise awareness around it as well, recognizing. So there's a lot that's been done, which is wonderful. But wanted to make sure that we discussed while Hagar is an organization that works a lot in the anti trafficking movement, we're an organization that works with people who come out of all sorts of abuse. Trafficking happens to be one of the most severe forms of abuse, and we deal with that a lot. But that it's not the only thing we do, and we're really grateful for every organization that we partner with that does work on that as well. Yeah. But really, I think we wanted to talk a little bit about like as people are watching the Super Bowl this weekend, um, and you might see an ad for some anti-trafficking stuff, or maybe someone's talked to you about it or it comes up. What do you do? Like what are some things that a person sitting at home in North Carolina could do about a Super Bowl that's happening in Las Vegas?
I mean, I think isn't that always the question? We can feel sort of distanced from some of these big sort of global issues. But if there's something that we've witnessed at Hagar, it's transformation can happen. It
Mm-hmm.
does happen. We see it all the time. And but it doesn't happen by not doing anything. It does happen with people who are active in their recovery. It's counselors and social workers who are there with people every step of the way, and it's people like you and I, normal people watching the Super Bowl on a weekend, who in our current lives right here where we are can do something about it. Um, there's a couple of resources that we have at Hagar. That are timely, for this coming weekend. We have on our website an action guide against human trafficking, and
Mm-hmm.
that is a quick couple of clicks, and you can download that. It's a PDF. It's a free download, and it gives all sorts of ideas and suggestions of how you can take action right now, from the comfort of your own home, how you can be supporting this movement. And another resource is So You Watch the Sound of Freedom, Now What? We've got a blog post on our website, which also gives some really tactical ways that right now you can take action from the comfort of your own home
Mm-hmm.
against human trafficking. So, um, Catherine, when we think about those two resources that we've got available, what stand out the most to you that you think would be most relevant for, folks tuning in this weekend to the Super Bowl?
That's wonderful. I think the action guide that we have that you can go on and just download, it has, some really quick steps of how to look for organizations, how to work within your own area, how to look for things that you're buying, your purchasing power. There are some really, really concrete things. And then there's also some other options of donating to organizations that are doing this work and seeing the fruit of that. Because, while the Super Bowl is one day, it is one day. And people who are in this trafficking, it's not just this one day. It just happens to be a place where there are more people, and so there's also more spotlight on the issue, which is great in a way that means that people like you and I can see what we can do, which I think is wonderful in that. But I would highly suggest to people to, if you can, download that action guide and just see like what is one thing that you can do that would make a ripple change, because really that's what it is. Like, it's each individual person doing one thing that then creates this huge change. When we look about 10 years ago, nobody was talking about this sort of thing. Um, and it's not like it wasn't happening, just nobody was talking about it. And so now it can seem like such this big issue, but really we've come so far because there are teams in Nevada that are going around making sure that they are doing whatever they can to keep trafficking from happening before this weekend. There are people putting specific things in place to try to put some protections. And it can feel like this daunting task, but if you look around your own space, there's always something that you can do, whether it's telling somebody about it, looking for some signs, knowing the local number that you can call if you see something, um, finding organizations like Hagar that do this really great aftercare trauma informed work with an individual who has come out of this sort of abuse, and recognizing that getting somebody out of that space is not the end, that there has to be some transformation and transformative work with that person to get them to a place of like real freedom and dignity restored. And what does that look like to really see a world where people don't fall victim to this sort of crime in the future?
Yeah, I think on weekends like this, we've got a big global event. We're tuning in all over the place. Um, it's such an awesome opportunity to amplify the work that organizations, survivors themselves are
Mm,
doing to raise awareness about this issue. So don't be silent as you're watching, the Super Bowl this weekend. Download our action guide. Maybe choose one thing that you're going to do
mhm.
to make a difference. Because when we all work together, when we bind ourselves together, when we're working in cooperation, we really can make a huge change. Um,
It's great. And we can even link the action guide down below here too.
yes, yes, yeah, we sure can. So, um, I think that's it. I hope everyone has a fun time watching this weekend, dressing up, and the food. Oh my goodness, the food. It's good. It helps February go by a little faster, right?
I mean, I think
So,
it's sometimes
yeah,
just a really fun way to get together with friends and family. And
totally.
it's that one thing that you can do that just makes it feel a little bit like you're putting something forward into the world, which, um, if a large event like this can amplify the message, that's wonderful.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We're all in it together. All
Mm.
right. Well, happy happy watching. And I don't even know who's playing because I'm not, that wait, welcome to my life. I shouldn't say those things out loud, but
That's okay. I think it's
I show up for the
there
food
you
and
go.
the community,
The party.
So
Maybe the
it's the
commercials.
party. Yes, that's right. That's right. All right. All right.
Wonderful. Thank you
Thanks,
all.
everyone. Yeah. Have a great